just get back to my, here we go, yeah. Meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. Oh, I tell you what to do. I need to record this. Record on computer. Yeah, I've done it. So hi, everybody. Welcome to another Facebook member live interview where you, the members, can come on here and be with me live. Now I can actually see I am lagging in Zoom, so that's going to be pretty scary, but never mind, we'll just go with it. Tabitha, can you put your hand up? Oh, there we go. Yes, Tabitha's all right. Tabitha's in time. It's just me that's lagging. I don't need to look at me anyhow, do I? So here we are, and today we have our member Tabitha Rayne. Now, anybody who knows Tabitha knows how beautiful and wonderful she is, and what a gorgeous character she is. I've known Tabitha, I was trying to think that the other day, Tabitha, about 18 months, 2 months now at least. 2 months, years.
Yep, easily.
Yeah, and you know, the first time I heard about Tabitha, of course, when you think of an erotic writer, maybe I'm being sort of in Victorian days, but I kind of think of Victorian writers as, you know, the leopard print top. And
oh, I've got leopard print top.
So far, I totally love them. Actually, my hand went out to reach for the leopard print top tonight, and I thought, no, don't be stereotypical. Get a nice flowery one, you know, all virgin-like.
Oh, we should have had a discussion earlier and matched our wardrobes to we could all be decadent. Oh, we should have done that.
I think we'll do it next time. We'll do it next time. Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. So anyway, hi everybody. You've gathered that Tabitha and I get on so wonderfully and we have a laugh. So you're not here to listen to me. You're here to listen to Tabitha. So Tabitha, as I said, is an erotic writer. She comes from Edinburgh. She's our very own make-do, and she's a sex toy inventor. Yeah, called Ruby Glow. And don't tell anybody, but I've got a Ruby Glow. But Tabitha is also an orgasmic ambassador. So, darling, tell us, how did you get into erotic writing and the rest?
Yeah, well, hi everyone at now. Hi there, Lindsay. I'm so happy to be here chatting to you again. I've missed our chats. Well, I got into writing. I wrote a book, and it was quite a heavy book about mental health, and you know, it was really about my journey through my mental health battles, and it was a sort of a light read, but a hard write. It was hard to write, and I needed some light relief from that. And so there was a friend staying at our house one night, and he said, "Oh, how's your touch typing?" I said, "It's not very good. I can type like this." He said, "Oh, just write a porno, just write sex and your fingers will fly and you'll be able to touch type in no time at all."
Really?
So I thought, right, okay, I'll try that. Turns out I'm really good at writing sex, Lindsay. And
love it.
And I taught myself to touch type really quickly to keep up with my frantically exciting stories. And the first one I wrote, I submitted it to an anthology. This was back in 2011, and it got chosen to be in an anthology.
And what's that?
So an anthology is like a collection of writing. So the books with all the short stories in, they're called anthologies. And my first ever story it was called Retail Seduction, and it was basically about a woman. Sounds a bit extreme. It's not extreme. Sort of playing with herself and doing sort of autoerotic asphyxiation in a changing room, basically tying herself up and masturbating in a changing room.
I've never tried that one. I'm gonna have to read that story.
Yeah, it's quite good. You'd like it. It's quite saucy, and it got chosen, and that kind of then fired up my appetite for going, oh, I'll write some more. And actually, it really helped me explore new fantasies, not just on the page, but in real life as well. It really sort of gets you fired up, you know, because I always say, if I have writing, people coming to me for editing or writing, helping with their writing or doing workshops with writers, I always say, you know, what you need to do is make sure that if you want to elicit some sort of reaction or some sort of emotion in your readers, you have to be feeling it when you're writing. Like if you're writing a sad scene, you have to be crying when you're writing. You have to be sobbing your heart out. It doesn't matter what gobbledygook you then find you've written. Like I always think the more red lines and bad spell checkers that you have after you've written a harrowing or really emotional scene, the better, because you know you were in it. Like
You've
you're
really got
there, right? You were living it. So when I come to after I've written a scene and it's all red marks, I get quite excited and go, this is going to be good. So that's what I tell all my writers. I'm like, you've got to feel it. You've got to be feeling the emotions. And if it's funny, you've got to be laughing. Ergo, if it's sexy, you want to be getting down with your good
Yay!
self. So
Oh,
yeah,
love.
so I know when I've written a good sex scene because I'm aroused and I'm just desperate to have some sexual relief, and I want to have an orgasm and I feel turned on. And I get the same feeling when I'm reading certain erotica. Some erotica doesn't do it for me, and I think that's when I can tell the author wasn't turned on when they were writing.
Well,
I
that's
think
interesting.
I think you can feel it when you're reading anything. You can feel when
Yeah.
the writer was completely engaged and completely immersed in what they're writing. So that's why I absolutely love writing sex. Because it's really fun and really exciting. And the other thing that I feel like, it's a very underrated genre. Erotica is very much seen as a like a not literary enough, or it's a bit, you know, erotica readers and romance readers, they're not given the same respect as a literary book might have when
Oh.
it's kind of scoffed at. But I challenge people to read some good erotica, and you'll see that actually you really can explore the human psyche so wonderfully with erotica. You can really tap into the deep levels of being a human. And just because it's called erotic, an erotic story doesn't even have to include sex. It just has to include like a connection.
Yeah, so you get those feelings within you, that tingling and
Yeah.
that want. Have
Yeah.
that. I think we both realised just for a second there what that was.
Yeah. Here we go, Lindsay.
Oh, it's fine. It's just you and I here together. We're okay. We could just keep on having our usual conversations.
Yeah. Exactly.
But so that brought you onto your invention, didn't it?
Well, that's right. Because what's a girl to do when she's just writing a bit sex scene and thinks, oh, I better sort myself out? So I thought to myself, okay, so I can't keep taking a break to go and
I love it.
sort myself out in the bathroom or whatever I was doing. It would be really good if I'll just buy something that I can sit on and grind myself away and have an orgasm, and then I can just keep writing and I can get on with the scene.
Wow.
And so I just went onto the internet and just started looking for ride-on vibrators, and there's ride-on sex machines. They're huge, and there's nothing really. Like just what I wanted did not exist. So I thought, oh well, that's rubbish. So I made myself I made a clay sculpture of sort of the sort of thing that would fit my anatomy, and what I wanted was just a two-humped thing that I could just grind against. And then turns out I quite enjoyed it, and I was just gonna, I don't really know what my plan was. I thought maybe I could send it off to a design competition or something. But then one of my friends said, no, don't do that. I'll give you some seed money. He gave me £1,000 to go away and make,
Oh,
well,
wow.
invested £1,000 to go away, make prototypes and get research and development done and see if it was a product would actually go places. So being in the erotic world was quite good for me to be able to, I had friends that I could ask, like, honey, see this block of blue silicon kind of messy type thing with a bullet vibrator stuck in it. Could you just sit on it for a few moments and see if you come?
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so I had the kind of friends that I could say that to.
Cool.
And uh, and it worked, you know. The women that I talked to liked what was going on down there when they had a wee sit on it. So yeah, so then I worked on it for about a year, and then I approached a sex toy company called Rocksoft, and they took the design on. And I'll show you. It's now
Yeah. Ruby.
there.
Hello, Ruby.
Ruby glow. So you sit on it. That's all you do. You switch it on, it's vibrating, you sit on it, and it's held in place by your pubic bone. This goes at your perineum vagina area, and this goes at your clitoris. So your whole vulva gets a massage, and you can grind on and ride on it. So
Yes. So it's natural.
yeah, I
And
think
you devised it, didn't you, to be comfortable?
yeah.
Because that's, because you're sitting there, because you're initially you were sitting there at the desk with
Yeah.
your typewriter, and it isn't comfortable, to be honest, sort of just sitting like this, is it? And when you're writing all that stuff, but I can imagine, just the whole idea of it. And so, can I ask you secretly, do you use it now when you're doing your writing?
Yes, I do. But guess what else? I've got a newer, even better one.
Oh, okay.
It's been in the development stage for, oh gosh, it's been getting developed since this one has been, but it's a newer, even more splendid one, and I use that one now because I've got one of 2 or 3 models. No, I've got 2 of 3 models that have been made. I've got one pristine one, and I've got one that I use, and it's sensational, Lindsay. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because I can't keep my mouth shut about it any longer. I've got to keep quiet about it because it's coming. It's been officially launched in January, and so I've just got to. Just can't wait. I just can't wait to get to show people. Because whilst I love this, this is brilliant. It has slight limitations in terms of it's battery powered. You can't use it in the bath. That was what some people were saying. They would have loved to have been able to use it in the bath. Some people, and
yeah, I know. Yes.
It's
So I know you sort of you didn't tell me, or you aren't telling me much about it.
I can't.
I know, but you are going to bring it along, aren't you, to the now meeting on the 8th? But we're not allowed. No photos are allowed to be taken.
No, it's so exciting. You'll be the Now Ladies will be one of a handful of people who have seen it in the world, in the whole entire world.
No, seen it.
Yeah.
We're talking about orgasm there. So, but why should we even want? Besides how wonderful it feels. So, but why bother going to?
Oh yeah.
What benefits are there to an orgasm?
Yeah, well, this is something that I probably should have addressed earlier on.
No. We all wanted to see the product.
Yeah, but we're sort of so open about it, aren't we? And it's easy to forget, especially I work in sex positive circles all the time. Like that's basically my business is sex, writing is sex. Everything is to do with sex. So in my world, it's kind of like a given that you would want to find sexual pleasure, or not necessarily orgasms, but sexual pleasure, and have a libido. However, I'm fully aware that not everybody has that drive and that desire. And, you know, I go through periods where my libido is tanking, especially if I'm feeling depressed, right? And that actually leads me on, because I suffer with various mental health problems. I have like OCD, but not the good OCD where your house is tidy, the bad OCD. Not that that's a good, not that that's good. I'm not suggesting for an instant that there's a good form of OCD, but the helpful form where your house might be a bit tidy. My house is midden, but I get the recurring thoughts, recurring thoughts, you know, the nasty.
You got to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, you mean?
Yeah, just the nasty recurring thoughts, which are negative thoughts. So I have to keep, and I found that one of the only places where my mind is actually free from any disruptive thought is at the point of orgasm. Like, it's a state of zen for me. Okay, so not only does it like feel good, release oxytocin, it stops my mind for a little while, and that's really good. However, there is a conversely, like the other side to that is, when you're depressed, the last thing you want to do is have sex or masturbate, or you can't find the desire inside yourself to even consider that you could have an orgasm, because you're so down. You're just like, ugh, it doesn't, you can't. So it is a very delicate balance, isn't it? And so to prescribe, in a way, I prescribe myself orgasm sometimes. And I do a thing called the 30-day orgasm. I call it for fun. I don't call it a challenge, because some people don't orgasm. And the last thing I want to do is put pressure on people to feel like they have to orgasm. But for me, I make it a priority for the 30 days. It's in April, because I always feel depressed at the start of April. And to try and give yourself a moment over of self-pleasure every day to release oxytocin. And I try and see it as, right, I'm going to have an orgasm. And then even if I'm like that, once I've released it, it's like, oh, like I feel I've got that love hormone, I've got the oxytocin, I've had a moment away from my own mind for even a split second. And so that's where I get, that's why I'm so enthusiastic about what the benefits of orgasm are and releasing oxytocin. And get this is my theory, okay? For if we want to, like, we could all do this. We could all one day have a time where across the world we all have an orgasm at the same time, and everybody, 7 million people, release oxytocin.
Wow.
There would be world peace in an instant, Lindsay.
My God, would they not? Would they not? I love it. Well, you are the orgasmic ambassador, aren't you?
Yeah, but I also understand the difficulties with libido, because I suffer with that as well. You know, sometimes you'd just rather be sitting watching. Well, we'd all be rather sitting watching an episode of Fleabag. But anyway, that's not right, because if we watch an episode of Fleabag, we'd all be horny as hell. So Elementary, something like that. We'd all be watching that with a glass of wine, go to bed, no action.
Elementary is my go-to at the moment.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
It's fab, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a bit of a Scooby-Doo for adults, isn't it?
Yes, he is. He is, and he can pull some really weird faces.
Yeah, he's great.
But when you were saying there about when you are going through orgasm, when you get to that point, you know, I've been reading up on this, because I don't know not an awful lot about it, I will have to admit. But I do know about the amygdala, because that's, you know, when I do my treatments, I know it's that I'm working with. And when you get to the point of climax or close to it, that's the amygdala is really put to the back burner. And the amygdala is something that is our watchful eye, because it's watching out for predators. So I think one of the reasons is why we have become as women, because yes, men require to climax as well, but of course it's easier for them, because nature has made it easier for them, because we need to procreate, so sperm is easy to be ejaculated. But a woman, we don't need to climax to be able to create a child within us. But to to climate, and I think we've been put on the back burner for our feelings. So now's the time to start thinking about us, about me. And we know as well that when you start thinking about yourself, when you start loving yourself, then everything around you becomes peaceful. It does. It does.
It does.
Because
You're right.
it's energy. That's what it all is. And I mean, and Ruby, you've got two Ruby glues there, haven't you? You've got the pink one that I have, and you've got.
This is Ruby Glow Dusk. It's very similar. It's the same shape. It's just the button. The controls are slightly better now, and it's. You can argue it's slightly stronger just because the button configuration is different, but it's also like a sexy little dark dusky color for you. Yeah, mine's got a bit dusty from the from the sofa, but yeah. And the other thing, just to quickly add about this, it's non-penetrative, it's hands-free, and you can do it through your knickers. So if you've got your period, because I think that on your periods you can get quite horny, but if you've got like a moon cup in or a tampon, like other penetrative sex toys might not be so good for you, but this, you can just sit on this with your knickers on, even through a pad, and you can still have a nice jolly old time.
And
So,
I remember you mentioning as well, when you mentioned penetration there, I remember you saying at our now meetings as well, and the times I met you, was that some women don't like penetration.
no.
For whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can't have sex or use a vibrator, an inserting vibrator, then they miss out. But with your invention, they can do it themselves by sitting on there, and there's no penetration whatsoever.
Yeah. It's quite a lot. There's a network, an organization called the Vaginismus Network, and they're brilliant. They're lovely, lovely women, and they recommend. I'll send you a link. In fact, I'll put a link on the now, because it's a wonderful, absolutely incredible, because it's about vaginismus is a condition where your vagina clamps shut with any form of if anything tries to be inserted, it penetrates. It just clamps shut, and it can be very painful. It can be quite debilitating, and it can be really damaging psychologically for some women who, think there's something wrong with them, because women with vaginismus are still sexual women and still have sexual urges and sexual arousal. And I think that's one of the things that people forget. Like, if you've got vaginismus, you're not going to be sexual, but it's completely the opposite is true. You're a sexual being just like every other person. So the Ruby Glow is also a good way for them to have orgasms without the pressure of penetration or the things like that. So the Vaginismus Network, I'm really close with them. They often have the Ruby Glow at their events, and they talk about it. So they're a fantastic organization. They're really fantastic. Yeah.
And being able to, I mean, it's not just the climax. I mean, it's the relaxation.
Yeah, the comfort.
Yes, because that's what oxytocin is. It is the cuddle hormone. It's what women release after the babies are born. And it's that gorgeous, gorgeous feeling that makes you forget it all. And you go and do it again and again. So affections, that's cuddles. Oh, it's just wonderful. We have here with us, and those who have actually commented, because I can't see any others. Jackie's with us. You met Jackie Phillips, makeup lady.
Yeah. Hi, Jackie.
And Joy. I'm not sure if you've met Joy Fraser.
Yes, I've met Joy. Hi, Joy. Yeah, lovely.
Excellent. Joy did a so I don't know what the conversation was at that point. So Joy, we'll ask you, because Joy's coming to the meeting on the 8th. Yeah. Joy saying hi to you.
Hi. Hey, Joy.
Jackie's also got a comment, good for you. So again, don't know what that was, what we were talking about at the time, but it could be anything, couldn't it? Because
Well,
you are
yeah,
absolutely
we'll just
brilliant.
say thank you.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Thank you.
So, any questions, ladies who are there? Now is the time to ask us because we've almost been chattering here for 30 minutes. Can you believe it?
Easy peasy.
Oh, it is, isn't it? I mean, we can sit here like for hours and talk about this subject. And when you came to the Now meeting, I mean, you brought all your products and we were all clamoring over, looking to see what was what. And I remember one lady going, oh, I really want one, but I can't afford it.
Hmm.
But you were brilliant. You know you did. You sort of we sorted it all out, and she did. So that was nice.
Well, I'm here to help. I'd rather, we all
Yeah.
need help at times. So yeah, I'm very mindful of that.
You were talking about helping writers. Is that something that you do?
Yeah, I have done in the past. With my other books that weren't erotic, I actually worked with the Scottish Book Trust and did a mentorship in primary schools, helping children to
Oh,
express themselves with creative writing. And I also, I did a lovely workshop with women, underprivileged women, and women who had been abused
oh,
and
right.
honestly, that was absolutely
Horrible.
it was a spellbinding workshop scenario to do because these women just had a way to express things that perhaps they found they didn't have a voice for with not
Wow.
with normal conversation, but with creative writing you don't have you can remove yourself from it and you
Mm.
can talk about this woman who was breaking eggs, like you can write a story about broken eggs and it's
Something.
and then the symbolism comes through, but nobody need know that it was you, that you're actually writing about your broken heart or your or whatever you're writing about. Writing is such a powerful thing. It's so incredibly cathartic and moving and humbling when you read people's stories, and then if they also have a commentary with their story, like some of the women would then explain why they wrote that particular thing, and it was such a honor to work with people like
Sounds
it really is.
fabulous.
If ever I'm working with people, to hear their words is just, I mean,
Mm. Yeah,
it's mind blowing actually.
yeah. You had a panel going at one point, didn't you? Have it wasn't Gossip Girls,
Oh, the
what was
loose
it?
lips.
Loose
Yeah,
Lips. Is
we're resurrecting loose lips. I'm just on the panel. I'm not the
lovely.
organizer of it. However, I am.
Good.
I really want to champion this loose lips because we did have you scheduled as one of our guests, but it clashed.
It was.
Unfortunately, it was my fault. I gave you the wrong date. Ugh, typical. But yeah, we are well, not resurrecting it because it's there, but we are planning future meetings.
Cool.
So and I will keep you posting that because basically it's like a group of women in a room with three or four people there, and Dawn Thompson is usually the compere. She's a member. Hey Dawn, she's a member of Now. I'll try and get her to come along
Yeah,
next Wednesday.
do,
She's a
do, please do.
therapist. It's wonderful. Yeah, she's great. She's a compere. She's wonderful, and it's and the brainchild of a lady called Linda DC. I know her as, but I don't know what her second name is, but she's great. And basically, it's we want to raise awareness for maybe local charities by talking about what it is to be a woman. So we have a
Mm.
panel, the panel. It's like Loose Women, except the audience. We have an audience who we want to open the floor and have a debate. So that's basically
Wow.
if it's going really well, then basically the panelists don't really need to speak very much because we've got everyone talking, and it's
Talking.
just and it's amazing what can happen when you get a group of you do it when you get a group of women all
Oh,
opening up and
it's wonderful.
sharing things that they might never have shared with another human
Hmm.
being before. It's like when you're in
Hmm.
a safe space and
Hmm.
then you find the next woman next to you has had that experience, and then you're
Yeah,
not alone anymore with your thought, and then it's a really wonderful thing. And I will keep you posted, and I
good.
will
Just
find out.
don't have them on the first. No, don't have them on the second Tuesday of the month,
Definitely not. We will
because
definitely
I
not.
want to be there in
Yes,
whatever
we
form.
definitely, definitely need to have you along because yeah, I was really looking forward to having you at that one. And the other thing that I want to put out to now, ladies, is when I do launch my new product, does anybody have any ideas of where would be a really good, fantastically wonderful space to launch a product? So if anyone has any ideas or any recommendations, I'm going to put this
Hmm.
question out in a few different places because I would really love to have a bit of an all singing, all dancing
So
fanfare,
when you say launch, how how are you going to plan that? How is it
like
going to
a big
be?
like a big party is what I'm
Oh,
looking for.
yay! I'm glad I asked
Yeah,
that.
Lindsay, if there's one thing about me, my friends know I love a
A
party.
party.
I love a party. I love organizing a party. So if anyone has
Right.
any ideas, because I'm trying to think of what venue I could have. I mean, I've already got my burlesque dancers booked for this, right?
Oh,
I've got my burlesque dancers
nice.
booked. And it's going to be hopefully February in the run up to Valentine's Day. So,
Nice.
because
I tell you what I saw. I mean, I'm presuming the burlesque dancers or people are women. I saw at the festival, not this festival, but another one. I must hunt out the video I took of them. Oh my God, I still remember him, a guy. And he came into the room. He was clothed. No, he wasn't. Shut my mouth. He came into the room
what?
just with boxer shorts on. Now he wasn't good looking at all. He was tall and skinny. I would not have given him a. Do you know what?
Yeah, is it Tom Harlow? He's just won the Miss Burlesque Scotland last weekend. He's sensational.
Is
Yeah.
he the one? I don't. Is that his name? He's German or something.
Oh no, that I don't
Not
know. I
him.
don't know him. But Tom
Oh
Harlow has
oh, I'm
just
gonna go.
won.
So who's that guy? Tom
Tom Harlow. I'll put the
Har.
link on the now thing as well.
Yes, yes. I'm gonna have a look at
Yeah,
him.
he just won Miss Burlesque.
Oh, in that case, then you got to have him because this guy, if he's the
Was
same
he
as this guy, I
amazing?
mean, I can still remember it, and it's just the way he sort of moved, you know. And then he looked at the audience to say, "Okay, shall I put the shirt on?" And he just sort of moved, and then he got his tie, and it went, oh! Oh my God, it's still there. I can still feel it. So I must hunt out
Yeah,
the
do.
video of him because it was good. So yeah, fabulous. God,
Yeah,
darling, we can talk all night,
we
can't we?
could.
So we're going to let everybody go. Nobody's got any questions there. They haven't got a chance to have any questions, can
No, sorry.
they? But
Well,
any questions, you can pop them in the comments later. You can ask Tabitha anytime you want. Tabitha's in our group. Very much. Not a lot on Facebook because Facebook keep banning Tabitha. And when I was doing this advertising, I thought, right, what words can I get away with? So I've actually they haven't banned me. I actually got away with orgasmic. I
yeah,
think I
well
took
done.
out, did I take out, no, I didn't take out sex toy because I'm sure that's in this, don't I?
Yeah, yeah, you did well.
I did all right, didn't I?
Yeah,
I know they
you
must,
did. I was impressed because the amount of times they just take down, they just take down my things and then ban me, put me in jail for a few days. Yeah, it gets a wee bit disheartening, but this has been good. So I'm back.
um,
I'm friends with Facebook again after tonight.
woo! But just think what you can do in jail all by yourself with
All
Ruby.
by yourself.
So on that note, darling, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody in now. Tabitha's going to stay with me because we're going to continue this little talk for a wee while. But I am going to say goodbye to all you wonderful, wonderful now people. All right. Oh, no. I was going to press end meeting. It's not that one I want. It's this one here. God, you can't get the staff nowadays, can you? Stop live stream. Bye now.